Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Dr. Hubert Minnis stands his ground as leader of the party despite being ousted as opposition leader. That story coming up.
Former Cabinet Minister Tennyson Wells is weighing in on the decision of 7 F&M MPs to write to the Governor General requesting she remove Dr. Hubert Minnis as leader of the opposition. That story straight ahead.
Former Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonette weighs in on the F&M drama. That story straight ahead.
Union leaders speak up about the termination of 61 one and only Ocean Club employees. That story is coming up straight ahead.
How the International Civil Aviation Organization is celebrating in the Bahamas. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight. The fate of 7 Free National Movement members of Parliament is up in the air as F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis last night called party executives and council members to a special call meeting. But what does that mean for the party? We have team coverage tonight beginning with Kyle Joaquin. Kyle?
Some shouted, "Expel them." Some threw them out. But in the room last night at F&M headquarters, there seemed to be a shared view that the 7 had to go. Dr. Hubert Minnis called on Loretta Butler Turner, Theo Neely, Hubert Chipman, Edison Key, Nico Grant, Andre Rollins, and Richard Lightbourne to step down as members of the party.
Do the honorable thing and resign. I want to say to all here and the nation that I still remain the captain.
And if the MPs refuse to resign, Minnis said a tribunal will be appointed and disciplinary action will be taken. Regardless, the process is underway for Butler Turner to become the first female opposition leader in the Bahamas. But Minnis had one point to drive home last night.
Let me be very clear that she is not and cannot as such be made leader of the Free National.
Minnis was left shocked yesterday in Parliament when House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major read the MP's notice. And despite being elected twice as party leader, he said it's standard for the leader of the party to become opposition leader.
Their action is a slap in the face of the party
and constitutional law.
And most of all, a slap in the face of democracy.
Flanked by the majority of his ratified candidates, a bold Minnis said while he was left disappointed, he looked at the bright side of things.
That what has happened today is an act of God. It is a blessing for the Free National Movement, and it is a blessing for the Bahamas that such an act occurred before the Free National Movement became victorious.
3 of the party's 4 senators, Carl Bethel, Dwayne Sands, and Kwesi Thompson, resigned last night following the news. Moni Gomez said due to being in court, she wasn't able to, but would do so today. But she said if offered by Butler Turner, she just may accept a seat in the Senate.
It's a growing process that we all have to go through sometimes. It's unfortunate that it's had to happen this way.
Because the Bahamian people are ready for change. They're ready for strong leadership. What they don't like is division. But those who have divided may well have helped in bringing an end to that in the F&M. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it's certainly going to be an interesting few months for the F&M leading up to the 2017 general election. But Minnis says despite no longer being the opposition leader, the party still only has one leader, and that man is him. Reporting from F&M headquarters for our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, former deputy leader of the Free National Movement, Brent Simonette, is calling for calmer heads to prevail after yesterday's shocking events in the House of Assembly. Our Jasmine Brown spoke to Simonette today. Jasmine?
That's right, Christina. Simonette says he too was shocked after learning about the proceedings in the House of Assembly yesterday morning. Simonette, who was also the deputy prime minister under the last Ingram administration, says at this point, both Dr. Minnis and Butler Turner should leave the bad blood and personalities out of it.
I'm hoping this is not, like the lawyers say in marriage, irreconcilable differences. There's a deep wounds on either side, and there's tensions running very high.
Simonet, who supported Butler Turner's bid to become leader of the F&M at the party's July convention, was also asked if he felt those 7 MPs were wrong for writing the Governor General. He declined to give his opinion, only saying what's done is done. But he did say it was not a good idea for Minnis to call last night's meeting.
If I was him, I would have not done that. I would have tried to spend a little bit of time between now and the weekend to see if we could all sit down and work this issue out.
He said political nonsense aside, people in the country are hurting going into this next general election.
This is bigger than Hubert Minnis and Loretta Butler Turner. We're talking about generations, as we like to say, of unborn children. The country's at a crisis point. The national debt is high, crime is high. I would hope that persons like Bram McCartney, Hubert Minnis, Loretta Butler Turner would take time out, sit down, talk to some of the elders. The F&M's been in this position before.
Now, despite the ongoing drama, Simonet says he is still confident in the party. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Jasmine. And former cabinet minister and longtime Minnis supporter Tennyson Wells says it was a petty and amateur move for those 7 MPs to ask the Governor General to remove Dr. Hubert Minnis as leader of the opposition. Dana Smith reports.
Wells said it was a mistake for Central and South Abaco MP Edison Key to change his mind and join plans to oust Minnis as leader of the opposition, branding the actions of that group selfish and petty. Wells says it's clear they have no respect for Minnis, and he doesn't expect any of them to win their seats if they decide to run again. Taking note that Minnis emerged unopposed as leader at the F&M's convention in July, Wells charged the 7 F&M MPs are clearly prepared to achieve power by any means necessary. Now, some Minnis supporters have characterized the actions of those 7 F&M MPs as foolish, but how would you characterize their actions?
It's very amateurish. It's not thought out at all. There's nothing they can gain by that. And it just goes to show that it's selfish and petty, and there's no regard for the F&M decision makers. I mean, the rank and file of the F&M who makes the decisions and who they say they want to be leader.
Wells has for months now been an outspoken supporter of Minnis in the face of persistent criticisms about what's been described as Minnis's inability to lead and unite his party. Yesterday's controversial effort came after MP Edison Key decided to join the long-standing effort to oust Minnis. Labeling him a very deceptive person, Key charged that Minnis betrayed him.
I heard what Edison had to say, but Edison, when all of the other people were saying that the same things that he's now saying, Edison was saying they were not true, right? And that he was standing with Minnis.
Praising Minnis for his decision to call on the MP's resignations, Wells claimed the vast majority of F&M supporters do not agree with yesterday's move, and he can't see any of the MPs involved returning to Parliament. But as for concerns that Minnis's removal could harm the party's chances at election, Wells said he doesn't think so.
Oh yeah, F&M go win the next election. Don't mind all this. They go win. With that same Hubert Minnis you see here.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
In other news, union leaders are looking into the termination of 61 employees of the one and only Ocean Club Resort on Monday, saying that the resort did not have evidence to support its reasons for the layoffs. Giorgio Bain reports.
Union leaders are not buying that 61 one and only Ocean Club employees were terminated due to reports of bad service, because according to union leaders, these employees never received any warning slip about their performance. President of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Nicole Martin, was outraged to learn of the layoffs. Martin says she believes that the resort intentionally left the union out of discussions before the cuts were made.
You're going to now tell us 61 of your employees were so bad that you had to fire them. This is a company that issue warning slips like they drinking water. If those employees were that bad, I could assure you they would not have still been employees.
Martin says if the Minister of Labor, the management of the resort, and the union cannot have peaceful negotiations, the union will be forced to take drastic measures.
These employers don't follow no law. They could care less. I am a Bahamian. I believe that Bahamian workers and Bahamians should be protected, not by talk, but by action. These employers see a loophole. They're taking advantage of it. It is grossly unfair. And I'm calling on the government to stop the talk. If you support workers, we are the people whose doors you are going to knock on. If you support us, then show us that you support us. Stop telling us you support us. It is time to put your money where your mouth is. And as far as I am concerned, if you don't support us, we don't support you.
Reporting for our news, I'm Georgia Bain.
Still to come on our news, the Chamber of Commerce steps up in the face of energy challenges. A major aviation conference continues in the capital, and the latest on Week 14 of the NFL. That's coming up when our news returns.